Hello and welcome to the Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm Peter Lavelle. Well, it's that time of week again. It's thumbs up or thumbs down, and I'm joined here by George Szamuely, as usual, co-founder of the Gaggle. I'll start out, George. Thumbs down. I actually only have two thumbs down for this episode. Attorney General Barr. And I say that with great disappointment because I've been a big supporter of the Attorney General. I like that he was a straight shooter, but coming out with, I think it was Associated Press, giving his views on the wreckage known as the 2020 presidential election, I thought it was completely unnecessary and unprofessional. Why a sitting attorney general would talk about something that would presumably is an ongoing investigation? As far as I know, tradition basically says that he can't comment even if there is or not an investigation. So I thought that was really out of character for him, and if his mantra has been to keep the FBI as far away from politics as possible, keep the DOJ away from it as far as possible. He totally failed because he injected himself by saying that. So thumbs down for Attorney General Barr. I can't see any other explanation for this. And I thought it was just very unfortunate considering how many tens of millions of people feel about this election.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. It's a very good thumbs down. We talked about it earlier in the week, and there's no question that what he did went completely beyond the scope of his job. He seemed to admit in that interview that there had been fraud. Well, that's a serious offense. That's a felony. You go to prison. For even one instance of fraud, you go to prison. So then the question is, well, why aren't you investigating this, getting to the bottom of it? Why are you shooting your mouth off to say that, well, it doesn't rise to the level of altering the election result? How do you know that? You don't know that until you started investigating and see how extensive it is. There's no evidence from what we can gather from all the attorneys who are fighting all over the place that there has been much of a DOJ investigation. And you have to keep in mind the margin between Trump and Biden is very narrow. Remember all the talk in 2016, the actual vote margin is 77,000. If 77,000 votes had gone the other way, Hillary Clinton would be president. Well, in this case, the margin is about 45,000, which means that all Trump has to change is the outcome in 3 states, Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, where the margin is very narrow. The result changes there, the election is thrown into the House of Representatives. So for him to declare that, it doesn't affect the outcome prior to any investigation, and for him to be talking about this, which is none of his business, the issue of, the election outcome and how it's going to be decided is absolutely none of his business. That's up to state legislators. It's up to the U.S. House of Representatives. It is not up to him. So, as you say, this is a completely unprofessional exercise on his part, and the only explanation I have for it is that he decided that this was the moment to put the boot into Trump, which maybe he had always wanted to do.
I hadn't thought about that. Okay, do you have a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Well, I think my thumbs down is the GOP. The GOP, which has been pretending for a while to be Trumpian, seized on this week to pass by a unanimous acclaim a piece of legislation sponsored by Senator Mike Lee of Utah and then Senator Kamala Harris of California, which would lift caps on green card holders. This is an absolute gift for the high-tech industry, which the GOP has been thundering about for the last few months and promising to do such things that they will be absolutely terrified. Zuckerberg and company will be trembling when the GOP gets a chance to get even with them. Here they are. They gave this nice little gift for them. At the same time, when Trump said that when you send me this national defense authorization bill, I want to see an abolition of Section 230. Again, something the GOP has been talking about the last few months, and the GOP said, no, 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 that's something separate. We don't want to put that as part of the bill. So they've said, no, we're not going to put it in. Trump threatens to veto. We'll see whether he does veto. But inside the bill is a nice little goodie for the Democrats, a totally pointless exercise of renaming U.S. military bases that are named after Confederate generals. So when I say the GOP, so there they are. They come on Tucker Carlson, they come on Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham, and they shake their fists and say, the Republican Party is the party of the working man. We are the defenders of the middle class. We are going to hit high tech. We're going to stop the flow of immigrants that are undermining good American jobs. They do this. This was passed unanimously. No objection by Ted Cruz. No objection by Josh Hawley. Also, and this is the party of the working man. Well,
no, you're so absolutely right, because it's the Chamber of Commerce section of the GOP that always wins out on these things, and their libertarian friends. That's what it's always about here. I mean, oh, you can't find American workers for these jobs. That's nonsense. That's absolutely no. I mean, for me, these mega tech companies, they have more money than God. Okay, and then they just want to be a little bit more chintzy in hiring their engineers. I mean, their profit margins are unbelievable, and this is chump change. Okay, and they still want to grab that as well. Okay, I mean, I find it just absolutely heartbreaking is that during an economic slump like that we're in, and what direction it will go is very, very unclear. And so you want to take those jobs, deny those jobs to people. Okay, during an economic turn down, so you can hire someone for half as much, and then it's some kind of servitude. Once you get this visa, this work visa, you are a prisoner. You cannot change jobs. You basically have no rights as a worker in these corporations here. I mean, it's wrong on every single level because of greed and ideology. Okay, I agree with you. A plague on the GOP for this kind of behavior. Oh, and they just cave on the culture wars. Just cave on it. Okay, why don't you ask your constituents how they feel about changing the names here? I bet you'd be surprised. Okay, no, just cave. Okay, no, this is the real GOP, the people in power. They show their face when it comes to these kind of things, and they will pay a cost. They will pay a cost for this because it is becoming a party of the working class. And the working class is going to say, you're not representing me, okay? There's going to be a lot of primarying going on, George, in 2022 and 2024. A lot of primarying. All right, I have another thumbs down. I hope it works. I kind of tried to make sure it sounds right. Political science, not like at the degree at the university, but politicizing science, okay? Political science, okay? And what it does is it completely degrades the value of what science is supposed to mean. And this is one of my most recent mantras here. Just flip the channel back and forth all across, and science is represented only for political reasons here. And you're seeing, I think in Staten Island, you saw that bar that was being forced to close, Max Public Bar, something like it's called like that. And that for me, that is just the epicenter now of what's going on in the U.S. 2 blocks away, you can have indoor dining. It's as if nothing's going on. There's no pandemic. And then apparently, I don't know if this is a fact, I came across this just happens to be a Republican district. Okay, is this politics here in the name of science here? It's going to be all across the country. Is that the way the elites treat this medical crisis, and the way they live, and the way they make other people live here, and it's a boiling point. This is not a theoretical thing. This is existential for more and more people. And what gets my goat is that it's small business people that are on the short end of the stick here. KFC, McDonald's, Amazon, their largesse will get through anything, okay? Not these mom and pop shops, okay? and they play such an important role with local communities and civil society, real civil society where people interact and talk and know themselves, okay, in their own communities. You wipe that out, you wipe out an important pillar of civic life in the United States.
Yes, you're absolutely right there. And you're getting this all across the board. Now you have this woman now in California whose restaurant is closed, and she's saying, "Oh, I see, but Hollywood can go ahead and do its business without any interference because Hollywood is supposed to be a huge."
Let's explain here. She had her restaurant as a tent operation, right? And then she was told to close down, and within eyesight, she turned her camera. But they can do what I'm not allowed to do. Exactly the same setup.
That's right, because there they are. Well, because Hollywood is making a ton of money, and California needs all the money that Hollywood produces, so they get special dispensation. You get this in the UK as well. Where they've now issued a new order that if you're a kind of a high value person, you can still travel around, travel wherever you want. The quarantine restrictions won't apply to you. But if you're just a Joe Schmo and you want to go somewhere, you will suffer the quarantine. You're not an important person. You're not a high value person bringing in lots of moolah for the United Kingdom. This is absolutely intolerable, and this goes on all across the board. Whereby, yes, ordinary people, they get their livelihoods wiped out, but the service sector, I mean, the ones who are actually going to deliver food to the homes of the well-to-do, well, they can still continue. And fat, wealthy business people, they can continue doing because they're bringing in a lot of money into the economy. This is absolutely intolerable.
So I guess we have to revisit what essential worker or essential person means. Essential people are the ones that service the rich, or are they the rich that can throw their money around? I guess they're more essential than the people that service them. This is a form of serfdom, indentured servitude. This is exactly what it is, and it means there are two legal systems in play right now. And people, it's so glaringly obvious, and the hypocrisy of it it just stinks to heaven, and it doesn't bode well for political and social stability, George. We're reaching breaking points.
Yes, yeah, no, that's exactly right. And with the supposedly environmentalists who are now coming into power with Biden, watch now what all kinds of restrictions that they're going to impose, which are only going to affect ordinary people. It's only going to affect the regular guy who needs a car to get to work, or the farmer who needs a truck to deliver his vegetables to market. They're going to be hit. They're apparently the terrible polluters. They're the ones who are causing global warming, so they're going to have to suffer. But Zuckerberg, making all his first-class flights all over the world, yeah, you go right ahead, Mark. We're not going to trouble you. Environmental restrictions don't apply to you. You obviously need your private plane.
And the biggest polluter in the world is, wait for the drum roll, is the U.S. military, the biggest polluter in the world. I suppose nothing will be done there, okay? But they'll still have their diversity classes and their what is it, race, what is it, what do they call it, race theory, critical. There you go. Right there. They'll have plenty of that there. Okay. Any more thumbs up or thumbs down, George?
Well, I have a thumbs up, which is not unconnected with my thumbs down. Is that the DOJ this week filed a lawsuit against Facebook for discriminating against American workers because of their very practice of hiring foreign workers whom they can employ at half the cost. And I said, this is clearly a discrimination. Now, what's, as I say, it's more of a half thumbs up because it's a bit bloody late now. With these are the last days of the Trump administration, and quite likely the a Biden DOJ will drop this lawsuit. Nonetheless, it is very good, at least, that there is a record of this. The fact that these high tech who enjoy all of the privileges that the government had given them. I mean, essentially, it's not because Zuckerberg is such a genius. It's everything that the U.S. government had given him. And then, in addition to that, apart from the Section 230 immunities, how does he reward all the favors that have been bestowed upon him by the United States? He does it by hiring people from abroad so that his profit margin is that much greater. So nothing, no return for the American workers, for the American taxpayers who have done all this for him. No, let me just bring in people from India and Nigeria and Bangladesh.
And the truth of the matter is, because of tax cuts and investments, all of these major companies, they were planned to succeed, okay? Because they would end up doing the bidding of this neoliberal ideology. They are made for each other. So social control, social conformity, crushing of dissent, they're all marching in lockstep, okay? And you get subsidies for it and low taxes, okay? And cheap workers. You're right. Very interesting return on investment, okay? The quality of life just has gotten worse for the vast majority of people as a result. So all right, I think that's. Go ahead, George.
These high-tech billionaires, these billionaires in their T-shirts and earrings and so on, they are not at all like the billionaires of old. This isn't Andrew Carnegie. This isn't Henry Ford. They at least provided jobs for Americans. Here, you just get all the benefits that the United States government gives you, and you pay it back by shipping jobs overseas and hiring, indentured servants from all over the world. So, yeah, this is a very different class of billionaire.
Well, we just, prior to convening here, we did an episode of Crosstalk. This is just another gift to a potential candidate that will run in 2024. He's making a list and he's checking it twice, okay? And the inauguration hasn't even happened, George, okay? Again, I'm so glad you bring it up. The GOP is such a farce, okay? And they will pay for it. They will pay in spades for it. If they can't see the trends that are developing right now, they're just going to get crushed, and they're going to get crushed internally. All right, I think that's it. We have our thumbs up and thumbs down. If you liked us, please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back next week with our laser focus, as George always likes to say, on our thumbs up and thumbs down. In between time, we got a lot of videos ahead of you. Stay with the Gaggle. Done.